Hello, DigiFam. It is me, Prodigious, back at it again. Now we're going to go in here and I want to share yet another deck profile out of the many decks that I have been brewing and messing around with. So, what are we going to look at today? Now we're going to look at, we've already seen these two in our last couple of videos. Let's go ahead and take a look at their more newer incarnations. That mainly consists of their new colors that we get from the brand new starter decks of ST15 and 16 respectively. So let's take a look at Purple MetalGarurumon X. Alright, so now, in my version of the deck, we are splashing a little bit of blue into this deck, but it is mostly going to be purple. Digi-Egg, of course, is going to be the Sunamon that comes from the starter deck 16. He has, when attacking, if you have 6 or fewer cards in your hand, draw a card. So if you find yourself running low on cards, very nice to have. Now, onto the rookies, I am running only 2 copies of the blue version of Agumon X Antibody. So if we play him at all, it's going to be because we're going to be evolving on top of a Gabumon, just so we can get that free Evo and draw, as well as do his search, reveal the top 3, add a card with Garurumon or Omnimon in name and an X Antibody among them. But we don't want to play too many of him since we are mostly purple. We don't want to get hurt in terms of not being able to Evo on top of our egg. Alright, now, unlike the other 2 Gabumon X Antibody though, the one that is unfortunately limit 1 per deck can Evo on top of our egg or Gabumon for free. And he is both blue and purple. Now he has, when Digivolving or on play, reveal the top 4 of your deck, add 2 cards with Garurumon / X Antibody in their names among them to your hand, place the rest at the bottom, and if you added cards, trash 1 card in your hand. It also has the inheritable of all turns once per turn, and this Digimon with Garurumon or Omnimon in its name would be deleted in battle by returning 2 non-Digi-Egg cards from your trash to the bottom of your deck to prevent that deletion. So we got some battle protection there. Next, we are of course running 1 of each of the other 2 Gabumons. Poor Gabumon keeps on getting hit on those restriction lists of ST6 and BT2. The ST6 has no real effect to it, but does have an inheritable of when attacking, trigger draw 1, then trash 1. In the BT2 version, again, no real effect, but it does have an inheritable of on deletion, trigger draw 2, trash 1. And then they kind of mix things up, and to fill the gap, because as I've mentioned before, I feel like we are really hurting in terms of good versions of Gabumon in general. To fill the space, I'm throwing in 4 copies of Gazimon from BT10. Now the reason why is because he has the inheritable of while there are 10 or more cards in the trash, this Digimon gains retaliation. That is an all turns effect. We will be able to fill up our trash pretty quickly, so we toss this guy in there, we Evo on top of him, and then suddenly we have something that has retaliation very quickly. I'm also running 4 copies, of course, the starter deck version of Gabumon, starter deck 16. Can Evo on top of Sunamon for 0, start your main phase. If your opponent has a Digimon, gain a memory. Inheritable is when attacking once per turn, draw 1, then trash 1. Now we're going to go into our champions. We are running a single copy because, again, limited 1 per deck, of Garurumon X Antibody. Digivolves on top of Garuru for 0, or you can Evo him on top of a level 3 purple or blue, for 3. When Digivolving, draw 2, then trash 2 cards in your hand. If Garurumon or X Antibody is in its sources, gain a memory. As well as the inheritable, like we saw on the other Gabumon up here, of when it would be deleted by battle, take 2 non-Digi-Egg cards and put them back in. Alright, now we are also splashing in 3 copies of Garurumon X Antibody from BT9. No real effect, but it does have the all turns inheritable of while this Digimon has Garurumon or Omnimon in its name and it would be deleted in battle, you may trash 2 of the same level Digimon Digivolution cards to prevent the deletion. So just more protection. Next, I am running 4 copies of the Starter Deck version of Garuru from ST16. Digivolves on top of a purple or Gabumon for 2. Has the security effect of you may play 1 Gabumon or 1 Tamer card with Mat Ashita in its name from your hand or trash without paying the cost. When Digivolving, draw 1, then trash 1. Inheritable is when attacking once per turn, draw 1, then trash 1. Then we have Garurumon from ST6, the first original purple deck. Now this one is no effect. When attacking inheritable, trigger draw 1, then trash 1. As you can see, we're already seeing a bunch of effects that just help us just filter through our deck, get stuff in trash from our hand. Now we're going on to our ultimates. I'm running 4 copies of the Garurumon X Antibody from EX5. Digivolves from Garurumon in name for 1. When Digivolving by trashing 2 cards in your hand, unsuspend it. Then if Garurumon or X Antibody is in its Digimon's Digivolution cards, you may return 1 Digimon card with Garurumon or X Antibody in its name from your trash to your hand. As well as the inheritable of when attacking once per turn, this Digimon has Garurumon or Omnimon in its name, by trashing 1 card in your hand, unsuspend. And then last, I'm running 4 copies of Garurumon from the Starter Deck 16. Evos for 3 from a purple level 4 or from a Garurumon in name. When attacking once per turn by trashing a card in your hand, unsuspend it. Inheritable is when attacking once per turn by trashing a card in your hand, delete a level 4 or lower Digimon. Now we're going into our megas. Now I am going to run 3 copies of the Starter Deck 16 MetalGarurumon Ace. He of course has that hand counterblast Digivolution ability. When Digivolving by trashing up to 3 cards in your hand, gain memory for each card trashed. And when attacking once per turn, you may trash 1 card in your hand to delete an opponent's Digimon with the lowest level. But just be warned of that overflow ability of -4 if it should leave the field. And I bring that up because this is pretty much our only version of MetalGarurumon that we're running other than our X Antibody version, which is the EX5 version. Evo's on top of MetalGarurumon for 1. It has blocker built in. When Digivolving, if MetalGarurumon or X Antibody is in Digimon's Digivolution cards until the end of your opponent's turn, all their Digimon gain when attacking lose 4 memory, as well as when attacking by returning 1 Digimon card from your trash to the bottom of your deck, delete 1 of your opponent's Digimon with the same level as that card. So we don't have a whole lot of level 6s, so that ability may not trigger quite as well as we would like to kill a bigger body, but that is fine. We're mainly using him for his blocker and when Digivolving effect. Now, on to the Tamers. I am running 3 copies of Matt Ashita from BT6. This is going to be an important tamer to have in this deck because he basically says that when a Digimon is moved from our breeding area to the battle area that has Gabumon or Garurumon in name, we gain a memory and draw a card. Now it does have a secondary effect, but it does not matter in this deck. That is based off of a level 7 warping bond type of playstyle, which I did build a deck for that in my videos. You can look that up and see. But we're mainly using him for just when we move out of raising, we can draw and gain memory. The other tamer we're running is 2 copies of the Matt Ashita that comes in the starter deck 16. He has a memory fixer, so we'll set ourselves to 3 if we're not already. In all turns, whenever an effect trashes a card in your hand, by suspending this tamer, gain memory. So that's going to be very important. Because the Blast Ace is going to be doing some trashing, so we combine that with him, and then we get an extra memory to hopefully make the turn pass to us. Now, I'm running 2 copies in terms of options of Metal Storm. You would use this card if you have a Digimon with X antibody in Stitch Evolution cards, reduce its cost by 2. And then we have the main effect of return one of your opponent's level 6 or lower Digimon to its owner's hand, then unsuspend one Digimon with Garurumon in its name. And of course we are running 2 copies of the X antibody option card, because well, why not? And then our final card, we are running 2 copies of Lament of Friendship from Starter Deck 16. While you have a tamer with Matt Ashita in its name, you may use this card without meeting its color requirements. Its main effect is to return 1 Digimon card from your trash to the hand. Then 1 Digimon with Garurumon in its name gains, on deletion, play this card without paying the cost until the end of your opponent's turn. Security effect is to activate the main. So, what makes this card really good in this deck is if we are running the MetalGarurumon Ace, and yes, it can and probably will happen of this thing getting blown up, and the overflow effect will trigger. It will suck, but if we can play this when we suspect that something could happen to our MetalGarurumon, even though that overflow will still happen, we get him back on board. Same thing with the MetalGarurumon X Antibody. Something happens to him, we have a way of putting him back on board. So not only will this card help us pull any piece that we might desire from our trash back to our hand, but he will give any of these guys the ability that if they are deleted, they come back. But anyway, that has been this version of MetalGarurumon X. More of a purple base versus the blue base that we've gone over already. I hope you have enjoyed this deck profile, and again, remember, if you are liking any of the content that I am pushing out, definitely give me a subscribe because it will help the channel grow, and I would love to actually interact with you out there, whether in polls or in the comments or even here on DCGO so we can play. But this has been Prodigious. I'll see you next time.